I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you strong. Let's break it down for a minute. I want the crown, I'm gon' get it. You hear me loud, man, I'm winning. Yeah, Charlie Sheen will be grinning. These ladies know that I'm sinning, and this is just the beginning. I'm closing in the night inning. There ain't no point in resisting. Living life like a dream, live it right, that's the thing. Every night got a team, I've been tied to the scene. Out on stage, here I'm screaming. Okay, it's a dream, and I pray as a team.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like 2.5.
Yeah.
Game tablet, it's got 3 games on it. Yeah, that'd be fun. We can try one. I don't know if he'll use it, but we'll try one. Did you call me? No, can't do that. That's segregation. You can't sit me away from other people just because I have them.
Oh, I was just saying just in case, like...
In case what?
Just the booth at Boston.
Oh, it's fine.
I don't like to take by myself for an order.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Lay down.
So can you like sit them away from everybody?
No, you can't. That's segregation.
No, I know.
That's no. So, as you guys just saw in the clip before this, we were at Buffalo Wild Wings, and we walked in, and they never asked, you know, if it was a service animal or anything like that, which he was very obviously labeled as a service animal, which is fine. They did make a comment about, right in front of us, which I thought was very rude, should we separate them and sit them over here away from everybody because of the dog? That comment was very unnecessary. It was honestly very rude. And as a service dog handler, you know, it is my job to try to educate people when a situation arises. Not only because I have to, because now there's a situation about it, but also because if I don't educate anyone, you know, they'll never know. So segregation in the United States is illegal, and that honestly made me super uncomfortable, which it was just one of those things like, oh, well, so because I have to have a service animal, you have to sit me away from everyone? Like, I can't be around people like someone who's normal and healthy? That bothered me a lot, and I know a lot of times people don't understand the laws, and they don't understand, you know, maybe certain questions that they should or shouldn't ask, but that should have been one of those things where that should have been common sense, and that was honestly very rude to say, especially directly in front of the customer. If you're going to make a comment like that, you know, maybe you should do it to yourself when the customer is not standing directly in front of you. I think what I would want anyone to take from this video is if you're a business owner or if you work in any kind of business and you have a service animal come in, you should know the way to react and the way to respond to situations. If someone came in with a wheelchair, are you going to look at them and tell them and make a comment about, oh, well, should we sit them over here away from everyone because of a wheelchair? Service animals are medical equipment in the eyes of federal law in the United States. Of course, they're living beings, and we love them very much, but they are medical equipment, and they're just the same as someone who has an oxygen tank or someone who has a wheelchair. And so oh my goodness. And so to make a comment, I love you. And for someone to make a comment about, well, let me just move you over here away from everybody because you have medical equipment. You know, you wouldn't do that to someone who had an oxygen tank or someone who had a wheelchair, so why would you do it to someone who has a service animal? I do think it was very rude, and I do think that a lot of people can learn from this. And It's one of the reasons that I record when I go into places, because I never know what's going to happen. You guys don't see every single time I go into somewhere, because things don't happen most of the time. But there are times it does happen, and if I wasn't recording going into a place, you guys would never see it, and I wouldn't be able to spread the awareness that I'm trying to spread for service animals and for disabilities. When it comes to service animals in the United States, you can only ask 2 questions. Is it a service animal required for a disability, and what tasks is it trained to perform? And so if someone asks me that question, I'm going to say yes, he is required for a disability. He's task trained in medical alerts, among other things, because Max is task trained for medical alerts and psychiatric response and slight mobility work. And so, but I usually just say medical response or medical alerts. You can't ask for an ID. You can't say that the dog has to be vested, because in the United States, federal law, it's under the ADA. It's Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, and that is what protects people with disabilities and protects people with disabilities that have service animals. You cannot legally require an ID, because there is none that is federally recognized. You can't require that the dog has to be vested, because service animals don't legally have to be vested. And during the summer when it's super, super hot, I'm probably not going to have a vest on Max all the time. There might be days I forget a vest, but the point of a vest is for the general public to know. It makes it easier on us if we have a vest on our dogs, as far as gaining access to facilities, and as far as letting the general public know that it's not just petted and as a service animal. And I think that businesses, especially bigger businesses that are franchises, should be a little more aware of the laws, and I think that they should take a little more time to educate people, their employees specifically, about how to act and respond when someone comes in with a service animal. Because making a comment about, well, should we sit them over there because away from everybody because they have the dog, that's very rude. And as a customer, I don't want to go in somewhere and feel like an inconvenience, and that is an inconvenience. The only time that I would ever legally be able to be separated from other people is if, let's say I go into an establishment and someone's allergic. They can't tell me that I can't be there just because someone's allergic, because I still have rights. But the person who is allergic to the dog also has rights, because they're also covered under the ADA because they have a severe allergy. What would happen is the person with the allergy would be on one side of the building and I would be sat on the other side of the building. I can still be there, I just wouldn't be close to the person with allergy, that way they're not affected by it. And so there's a way to go about it, doing it correctly. That is the only time I would ever be comfortable with being segregated if I needed to be. But just to move me away and put me in a corner by myself, you know, just because I have my medical equipment with me, is kind of outrageous. It would have been like if I wouldn't have had Max and I would have used my wheelchair, because I do have a wheelchair. Most of you guys know that I have to use on my bad days. And that would have been like me going in with my wheelchair and them saying, well, should we move her and sit her over here because she has her wheelchair? And it was just very rude and almost discriminatory in a way. Now, I am going to be contacting Buffalo Wild Wings, just the corporation, just to kind of let them know. I'm going to send them this link, that way they can see this video, and maybe they can use this video for educational purposes for their employees, just to make sure that no one else has this issue. The entire point of my channel is to try and spread awareness for disabilities and for service animals. And the more that I am able to record situations happening in public, the more that I'm able to post them here on YouTube for you guys to see, and the more that you guys are able to learn, and the more awareness we're able to spread. When one of my videos go viral, there's, you know, that's millions of people that didn't know the laws before that are now aware. And so you guys really help me out when you guys share this video and help pass it along to other people. That way other people are able to learn the laws as well. That way, not only are we making it easier on other businesses, it's also making it easier on other people with disabilities and service animals. Because we don't want to feel like an inconvenience. We already deal with so much in our day-to-day life. The last thing we want to do is go into a place and be made to feel like we're an inconvenience or like we're not welcome there. And last thing we want to do is be standing there trying to educate people every single day, all day long. You know, it's a lot easier if corporations and businesses can just educate their employees so we don't have to deal with it, because we deal with things like this a lot, which is sad. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, leave me a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos, don't forget to subscribe. If you're already subscribed, hit that bell icon so you can be notified every single time we upload. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope maybe you learned a little something from this, and if you did, if you learned something new that you didn't know before, comment below and let me know. I love reading your guys' comments. I do read most of the comments within the first 24 hours. I do try to read most of the comments, and I try to respond to as many of you guys as I can. I really do appreciate when you guys tell me that you learned something new